If you're in North America and enjoying all the good things that North America has blessed you with, as you can see in Toronto and in Canada, Indians are buying up a lot of franchises and doing business in the black community and becoming rich. In America, Indians are buying motels and gas stations and doing the same thing. But keep in mind, the freedoms you enjoy today in this land, who fought for it? So you can enjoy the fruits of our labor. As the saying goes, pioneers get slaughtered and settlers prosper. YouTube family, it's me again, Jam Ken. And as you can see, I dress like an Indian prince today. The topic I'll be discussing is my early Indian crush. Keep in mind, I am not doing this video to disparage the Indian community because in my early years, I was really attracted to the beautiful Indian ladies. This video is also to mend the fences because I am looking through social media and I've come to realize there has been some tension between the Indian and the black community because based on the Indian caste system, many Indians look at the blacks as the lower caste, the underclass, or they would say the Dalits. Before I begin, people, let me take a look. My wife is not here, so this is a secret between us. People, when I was a young lad going to school, it's called primary school or they say public school. I remember in the classroom, there were many of us black students. And one semester, an Indian girl came in the class. And for me, I was just curious of the difference with the hair and the look. So as a little boy, I just go there and start to play with the hair when I look at her. And I will never forget that impression in my psyche. She was different, like any other child. You know, we are curious. I remember when I came to Canada early and I went to Sudbury to visit some friends. The little children just came and played in my hair and said, wow, mommy, he's so brown. So it's a curiosity for most children to always admire what's different or out of the ordinary. Now, when I came to Canada, I never thought that the little childhood impression stuck in my subconscious. So when I started working for this company, I got promoted to a supervisor. And there were some Indians working there and we became good friends. So there was a co-worker of mine named Vishnu. And I said, Vishnu, man, you don't kind of like them Indian girls. Them Indian girls look pretty and nice and so forth. And he said, yes, man. Yes, Richard. There's a club at Dufferin and Finch. I remember back in the days, there was an Indian club, a Guyanese club. But you know, they're Indians, same way. And man, I got fixed up and cleaned up and polished up my car because I said, yeah, I want to make sure I present myself very well so I can maybe have a chance. But when I went there, people, and I went to the club, you know, chest high and bold and yeah, gonna make some moves. And I'm trying to give a few little eye contact here and there and a few little body language. But I saw the girl just huddle up and just not paying me attention. I thought maybe I had some bad smell or maybe I didn't look too good because as you can see, I'm not too bad looking. Got a little face and look a little bit good. So I was trying to impress upon the girls, but they weren't taking the bait. So I kind of got my heart a little bit broken. I felt a little bit deflated. So I went back to work, you know, on the Monday. I said, Vishnu, what's going on with these girls? I went there looking good and everything, and this girl didn't pay me no attention. Vishnu says, boy, why you don't know, man? Because you black man, them girls ain't want no black guys. I said, Vishnu, why you don't tell me that? But he said, if I tell you, you wouldn't know. I want you to experience it. So family, in my mid-20s when I was going through a breakup, you know, I started to go into the gym and pumping iron and look dapper, muscles and yeah, Now I got chest plate and biceps and triceps, and I had a red sports car, and I was the man. I was the girl attraction, I wasn't no simpleton, I was a dapper don. Yeah. Don't mind me, people. I didn't take my meds, so yeah, mind me. Yeah. So people, I was going to the gym, and back then, you're going through a relationship breakup, so you're deflated and your confidence not there. But now you start to pump iron and your ego came and you get confidence. So I have a friend of mine, he has a nice girl, and she had a friend. And the friend was Indian. And I was like, oh my Lord. And when I look at her, she was fine. Very fine. Yay. And for me, because, that childhood dream stuck in my subconscious, I started to look and say, yeah, I must have moved here. So my friend introduced me to her, and we started going a few dates and so on. Man, she was sorry like those ones, and she was fine. I was like, it's Kama Sutra time. Yeah, I was just counting my chickens before they hatch, but let me digress. Yeah. So, yeah. So what happened is that we started going out and so forth, and we became good friends, and we started to move to different levels. And it was so surprising. One day we were having a conversation over dinner. And for me, I'm curious because she's Indian from India. I'm black from Jamaica. And to kind of get in this kind of connection for me, because I see what happened with me and Vishnu when he sent me out there on a wild goose chase. I was a little bit, kind of receptive to know, okay, why is she look at me? But I knew I was, still dripping, Yeah. My wife might keep me into this one, but hey, they say confession is good for the soul. And my Christian friends, don't burn me out. It's confession. I'm trying to get to a point so I can heal others. Yeah, so don't burn me out. So, I asked her, how come you want to date a brother? And she said to me, Rich, I have been through a rough time in my life. Very rough time. And what she said to me is that when she was in university, she dated a white guy. And the Kama Sutra went on with a white guy, and she got pregnant. And people, talk about the village policing and the family policing came on. She said the family found out that she was pregnant. And the brothers, boy, they went Holyfield and Mike Tyson and her, and boom, they go on UFC, and they beat her so bad. They beat her so bad, people beat her so bad that she lost the child and they tossed her out. And that was a white guy. Can you imagine if it was a black guy in that time? That's like about maybe 25 years ago. Maybe they would have taken off the head. So she lost the child and they cast her out. And it was hard for her. Very difficult, because let me tell you, man, the girl is hot, dripping hot. So I was listening and I became so empathetic because I couldn't understand how could they do that to a human being. But that's what happened. And the cast her out and she went on her own and started her thing. And funny enough, years ago I've met her and she started her own business. Successful business. The girl is up here, still looking fine like aged wine. But for me, I don't want to go back there not for a dime. I got my queen here, right on time, Let's go with the rhyme. Yeah. But while we dated, she was getting there in her 30s and she wanted to marry and have children. And honestly, for me, I was a bit suspicious of the culture. I didn't really want to marry her. I didn't want to get in that kind of entanglement to have, say, a mixed child with an Indian and a black, and I knew the reprehension coming against us. It was so surprising that people, if you're a black guy or a black girl dating an Indian person, you ever got that Indian stare yet? The guys are stereotype. Like, I talk to a lot of Indian girls, and when the guys come around, they give her that stare. The stare is like, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? Why are you talking to a black guy? What's going on here? And to me, that is so ignorant. Ignorant. But the steer is, tell you what, don't go out of line. Because if you go out of line, for me, that is not good. So what I did, I started to dig more in the culture, why the culture behave the way they do. And I have a comrade of mine, we work for the same company, and he's Sikh. So we're having a chat one day. And I said, Min, that's his name, Min. I'm going to tell you the last name, Min. What's going on with the Indians? I mean, we've all been through the same separation. We've been colonized by the British. We got enslaved. Our values, norms, culture, religion was completely wiped out. You kept your language, you kept your religion, you kept some of your values. But we had the same oppressor. How in God's name we had the same oppressor? And now, as an underclass and an oppressed group, we're fighting amongst each other. He said to me, Richard, Indians are the most racist people on the planet. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, I agree. But I realize there's ignorance with it. And let me kind of dispel the ignorance a little bit. I've said in my previous video that when the British went to India, India was one of the richest countries in the world. When the British left, India became one of the poorest countries in the world. Britain became powerful because of Indian textile trades. So India was vital. In 1865, when slavery was abolished, when Britain abolished slavery, the British brought the Indians over in the West Indies as indentured slaves or laborers because the blacks got fed up with the land and said, we don't want to work this land anymore. So they decided not to work it. So the British brought over the Indians as cheap labor, and particularly the Dalits, they brought in the underclass, they brought over. Now, when they bring them over, the British trick them. They say, tell you what, you can come over, you can work enough and finance your way to go back to India. But the British know that, or the plantation class know that in the Caribbean, they ain't gonna pay them enough for them to go back to India. So it was a new labor force. Just like now, if you look at Canada, you have more Filipinos now coming to replace the black labor force. You have more Indian and Chinese to replace that because we have moved away from physical mechanized labor now to AI and IT and robot and more technical and managerial skills. So you shift the mode of production to suit your economic bottom line. So now, we see Canada bringing a whole lot more South Asians and Chinese. And it's simple. Because India has a larger second managerial class compared to the United States. The problem with that now, because India have a rigid caste system, the Brahmins, Maharajah, then the merchant class, and then the Dalits at the bottom. British left India about over 70 years ago. And India kept on to one of the biggest British philosophy, Colorism. If you look at most of the commercials, here's a dark Indian, can't a dark girl be beautiful in the Indian, and here's the lighter skin. This is what you see on the mass media and in the commercials and all of those kind of ads. You don't see the dark Indian. The dark Indian is considered the Dalits. So therefore, what happened is that they put that also in the Hinduism religion, and when they go, they see us, the darker one, as the underclass, which is so ignorant. Because if you understand human anthropology, and please, my Indian friends, go study this. All human beings come out of Africa. And the dark Indians in the south, whether you like it or not, came from the group called the Dravidians. I'm going to link Dr. Velo Anamale in the description so you guys can realize that, I mean, for you to become lighter, you're far north to the Punjab or north where you don't get enough sunshine, like me who look light in Canada, don't get enough vitamin D to enhance the melanin. I get pale. But because of white supremacy now, we believe that if you're pale, you're more beautiful. Hell to the no. Because you could not be pale if you were not black. Anthropology. In chemistry, Black is dominant, white is recessive. You can never get the dominant from the recessive, but you can get the recessive from the dominant. So the white supremacy is a farce, because if white people were the only people on the planet, they could not make any people of color. So stop this madness of prejudice. Stop hating on other people. Stop telling people are the underclass. We're all created in the image and likeness of the Almighty God. And every human being came out of the black gene. So let's stop this foolishness. Ignorance. Dr. Velo Anamali grew up as a Dalit, and he wanted to know why people discriminate against him because he is darker. And he realized that the whole caste system was created by the ones at the top, the Maharaji or the Brahmins, to keep control of the population. Just like in white supremacy, keep white at the top and at the bottom to control us. And they put white in God, Jesus, Adam and Eve, which you know by science, Adam and Eve could not be Eurocentric or Caucasian, because if there were no other human being on the planet will be created. Sorry, I'm just expressing my deep concern. This prejudice has run so far. And I was talking to an Indian girl a few days ago. She's new to Canada. And I'm giving her tips and advice, because I do mentor a few, of what approach they need to take as a new immigrant in Canada. If you should realize, based on the caste mentality, Indians predominantly study IT, business MBA, pharmacology, engineer, or medicines. You don't really see Indians becoming nurses. You don't see Indians becoming plumbers, HVAC technician, electrician, roofers. They all want to be in the managerial class. Spoiler alert, my friends. AI will replace almost all of you in those fields, and will leave you redundant with the mindset. Now, I have a comrade of mine, and she's an accountant. So when she came over to Canada as an accountant, she's from Sri Lanka. She was making about $16 an hour, and she got a job with the city of Toronto making about $30 an hour. But it's not the kind of job that the mindset, the caste mindset appreciates or wants, although it's a unionized job. The mother said to her, girl, I want you to stop doing that job, because I never sent you to Canada to do that particular city job, although it pays twice the accounting job. It has pension and benefits. She said, Nana, I am making $16 an hour, Nana. This job can retain and give me $30 and give me benefits and everything for my family. And she's stuck in her heels. Guess what now, family? Nana is living with her in her house. But if she didn't stand strong and breaking that mindset, where would she be? Now, if you want to know how dominant this caste system is, go into colleges and universities. Wherever the managerial sections are, they're dominated by South Asians. Keep in mind, Canada College and universities make billions of international students. In 2019, I believe they make 19 billion, and they're about to make 22 to 23 billion in 2023 of international students. The education is a business, but also studying in Canada is for many to get their PR. The problem is, as you grow and multiply, how do you survive in a land? Just stay in a religious group and not believing that your sons and daughters will find guys who look like me attractive. Now, I've told you about my massage therapist who married another woman, and the family accepted her. They'd rather have her marry a woman than marry a black guy. My fellow Indian friends, we're all oppressed. And in political science, it says that every oppressed group internalize the oppression and attack each other. We don't need to attack each other. We need to understand and work with each other. The only reason why your system stayed intact is because the British never obliterate your values, your customs, and norms. Keep in mind, and I want you to listen to this, if you're in North America and enjoying all the good things that North America has blessed you with, as you can see in Toronto and in Canada, Indians are buying up a lot of franchises and doing business in the black community and becoming rich. In America, Indians are buying motels and gas stations and doing the same thing. But keep in mind, the freedoms you enjoy today in this land, who fought for it? So you can enjoy the fruits of our labor. As the saying goes, pioneers get slaughtered and settlers prosper. But also remember this, to whom much is given, much is required. Let's love and embrace each other. See you in the next video. Peace.